It's just comedy.
The Jell-O Program, starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston and Phil Harris and his orchestra.
Thank you. This is Groucho Marx. Well, here I am, stepping in over my head again.
With Fibber McGee and Molly.
Folks, this is just as new to me as it is to you.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Benny. This is Rochester.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Well, what an original greeting.
Hello and welcome to another week of comedy, funny, haha, on Dwayne Old Time Radio. One thing, please subscribe to my channel. If you enjoy what I'm doing, subscribing is 100% free. Also, one more thing, if you have a few seconds or 1 minute, please leave a review on your preferred podcast service, especially if you're on Apple, Spotify, or really just your preferred podcast service. Thank you and hope you enjoy. The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet this week. 2 episodes from Mr. Ozzie and Mrs. Harriet. David Fights, 41st episode, September 9th, 1945. And then Lodge of Unicorns, 42nd episode, September 16th, 1945.
International Sterling. International Sterling is solid silver. The solid silver with beauty that lives forever is International Sterling. From Hollywood, the creators of International Sterling presents The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring young America's favorite couple, Ozzie Nelson and Harriet Hilliard. It's late afternoon as we join the Nelsons at 1847 Rogers Road. Harriet is sitting in the living room, and little David is just entering the house.
Is that you, David? Yes, Mother. All through playing? Yes, Mother. I was just going upstairs to get ready for dinner. I want to brush my shoes and change my clothes and clean my teeth and wash my face. David, come in here. I want to talk to you. I'll be right there in about 5 minutes. You come in here right now, young man. I've been a mother long enough to know when something's wrong. All right, Mother. Here I am. Oh, David Nelson, look at you. Your pants are torn, your sweater's ripped, your face is scratched, and your lip is cut. Mother, there's something I want to tell you.
I've been fighting.
Yeah.
Well, that's rather obvious, to say the least. How'd it happen?
Well, you know that boy Hubert Jones down the block? Well, me and him...
Not
see,
me and him.
I mean, him and me, him and I, we had a few words.
What do you mean you had a few words?
Well, we didn't do much talking.
David, you know very well that fighting in the streets is terrible, and I won't have it.
Well, gee whiz, Mom. It wasn't all my fault. He said something to me I didn't like, and I said something back to him. And I kind of pushed out my fist, and he banged his nose against it.
I think I've heard just about enough. You'll have to be punished, David. I don't like to say that, but I'm afraid it's necessary.
Oh, Mom.
Now, don't look up at me with that sad face and try to break my heart, because it's not going to do any good. I think this is something for your father to handle. Oh, Ozzie! Ozzie!
Well, coming, dear. What is it, Harriet?
Just look at David. He's been out fighting in the street with that Jones boy. It's disgraceful, that's what it is. You're his father, and I think you ought to say something to him.
David?
Yes, Dad?
Who won?
Ozzie Nelson, you're just as bad as he is.
Well, if David was fighting, he might have had a good reason.
I don't care what his reason was. Look at his lip. Look at his cheek. Look at his ear. I want him to grow up to look like my side of the family.
Now, look, I'm not taking David's part, mind you, but I do think that every young boy should learn how to defend himself. And I speak from personal experience.
Gosh, I'll bet you were a great fighter when you were a kid, Dad.
Well, as a matter of fact, I guess I was, David.
Did you get many Indians?
Well, David...
David, stop buttering up your father. A fine lecture you're giving the boy.
David, your mother's right. What your mother means is that we just don't like the idea of your getting into fights in the street. We'd rather that it stop.
Oh, don't be too severe with him, dear.
Now, exactly what happened, David?
Well, we had a few words, and I hit him a few times, and he hit me a few times, and then I hit him a few more times.
But you did hit him first. And you know your mother and I don't like to have you fighting. Uppercut?
Yep.
Did you keep your left out and jab as I told you?
Oh, no, Pop, I forgot.
But I told you to keep that left out and jab, jab, jab.
Ozzie?
David, you'll find as you progress along the highway of life, it's of the utmost importance that you learn how to get along with your fellow man. You must avoid trouble, avoid arguments, avoid misunderstandings. But if you do get into a fight, keep your left out and jab, jab, jab.
Ozzie!
Now, how did this thing start, David?
Well, we were playing baseball, and I was up at bat, and this fella said I was a bum ball player.
Well, that's no reason to begin using your fists.
But he called me a little stinker.
Well, you just ignore him, David. Names can't hurt you.
Well, then he said you were a big stinker.
Why didn't you hit him with the bat?
David, maybe you'd better run along and get cleaned up for dinner.
Okay, Mom.
And David, no more fighting. Now, remember what I say, because the next time I catch you fighting, I won't tell your father. I'll handle it myself.
Yes, Mom. I'll be right down.
He's a fine boy, all right. I'm afraid he's a chip off the old block. Yes, I remember when I was a kid, I was a terror of the neighborhood.
Oh, Ozzie Nelson, you were a fat little boy, and you know it.
Fat? It so happens I was known as Nelson the Muscle Boy.
Well, from what I heard, they used to call you Nelson the Bustle Boy. Come on, let's go into dinner.
Okay. Gee, I'm glad the meat situation's eased up. Sure is good to eat a steak for a change.
Was yours tender?
Oh, perfect. Very tender. In fact, I cut it with my international sterling silver butter knife.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, dear. I'll call Gloria. Oh, Gloria! Gloria!
Did you call me, Mrs. Nelson?
Yes, Gloria, I did. We finished dinner.
Oh, it was wonderful, too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my goodness. What happened to David's face?
Oh, he got into a fight with a Jones boy down the street.
Oh, look at your eye, David. You're going to have a black eye just like I got once. The time somebody sneaked up behind me and gave me a kick.
Somebody sneaked up behind you and gave you a kick?
Yeah.
And you got a black eye?
I was looking through a keyhole at the time.
Well, I just hope David doesn't make a habit of getting into these fights.
Oh, don't worry, Mom. I'll see you later. I think fighting is terrible. And I know, too, because my mother and father were always getting into fights.
Oh, that's too bad.
They just never got along. They were divorced twice.
Twice? You mean they remarried?
Oh, no, they just wanted to make sure.
You know, so much trouble could be avoided if everybody realized that there are two sides to every question. Things can be viewed from so many different angles.
That's why I never wear slacks.
Well, that's something else again. What I meant was that coming to blows is so foolish. The old saying is still true. Might doesn't make right.
Mrs. Nelson, you've never been out with a sailor, have you?
Well, not lately, Gloria, anyway.
I'll get it. Yes?
That's the kid's father, Unc. Hit him.
What?
Go ahead, Unc. Hit him. You know what Annie told you.
Now, just a minute, Hubert. The man hasn't even said anything yet.
What's this all about?
There, he said something. Hit him.
What's going on here?
Well, it seems that your son had a fight with my nephew and bloodied his nose.
Oh, yes. Well, I already gave David a lecture about that.
Yah-ta-ta. Talk. Hit him, Uncle Peter, and let's go home.
Now, just a minute, son. You're bigger than David. Why can't you settle your own arguments?
Because the psychiatrist says I'm a delicate, sensitive boy who abhors violence. Go ahead, bust him on, Unc.
Your uncle's not going to hit anybody.
That's what you think.
Hubert, you better wait out in the car. Some of the things I'm going to say to Mr. Nelson may not be fit for you to hear.
But, Uncle Peter, I want to hear.
I'm sure your Aunt Bertha would not approve. Now go. Go.
Well, okay. But be sure you give him you-know-what.
Okay, he's gone. Now, just what is this you're going to say to me?
Shake hands. You've got a fine boy. I'm Hubert's uncle, but Hubert is one of the most spoiled, mean brats that I have ever seen.
Well, my gosh, how can an uncle speak that way about his nephew?
Well, I'm not really his uncle. I'm only his uncle through an error.
Through an error?
Yes, I married his aunt. She's the one who forced me to come over here and bawl you out.
Oh, really?
You see, little Hubert comes by it naturally. He's always picking fights with other boys. Then my wife sends me out to argue with their parents. This is the 4th mission I've been on this week.
Well, why do you go?
Oh, Mr. Nelson, you don't know my wife.
Well, you sound as if you're afraid of her.
Afraid of her? If I didn't come over here to bawl you out, she would take me and bend me over backwards.
Now, please, she can't really bend you over backwards.
Mr. Nelson, I have spent some of the best years of my life staring at the seat of my pants.
Oh, you're just like a lot of other men. You're afraid to assert yourself with your wife. Now, look, the next time she pulls that stuff, tell her off.
Really?
Absolutely. It's all a matter of psychology. Now, what's every woman's biggest fear? Having her husband run out on her. And that's the best way to threaten him. Make out you're running out on her, and she'll be a different woman.
Is that so?
Well, sure, there's nothing to it. At the end of one of your arguments, all you have to do is walk over to the door and leave.
Are you kidding? At the end of one of our arguments, who can walk?
Would you please listen to me? I'm telling you, it never misses. Now, the next time you have a little argument, don't take anything from her at all. Just get mad and say, I'm going out and I don't know when I'm coming back. And out you go. And don't just close the door, slam it.
Slam the door.
In 3 or 4 hours, you come back home. But don't come crawling back with a bunch of apologies and a box of candy. Just bust right in, tell her you came back for some shirts and ties and your toothbrush. When she hears that, she'll start crying. And you can take your time accepting her apology and forgiving her.
Oh, gosh. Thanks for the advice.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, look out. Here comes the little stool pigeon. You better start working me over.
Well, how you doing, Uncle Peter? If you don't tell him plenty, I'll tell Aunt Bertha, and you know what she'll do to you.
Don't interrupt me, Hubert. It's a fine state of affairs, Mr. Nelson, when an innocent little child like Hubert can not go outside without being set upon by a hoodlum.
Oh, it's terrible. I'm so ashamed.
Well, you should be. It is a disgraceful way to bring up a child. And I suggest that you see that he mends his ways, or I will be forced to take this up with the authorities who handle juvenile delinquents.
Oh, please, give me just one more chance, sir.
Oh, why don't you hit him, Uncle Peter?
I wouldn't soil my hands on him.
Ozzie, what's keeping you...
And another thing, Nelson, you're lucky you apologized for making all this trouble, or I'd really smash you a good one.
Ozzie, are you going to stand there and let him say things like that?
Well, I'll explain later.
And don't let it happen again. Goodbye. And you're peachy, Mr. Nelson.
Why, Ozzie Nelson, I'm surprised at you.
Now, stop jumping to conclusions.
The idea is just standing there and taking all that abuse.
Will you let me explain, please? I was just saving the poor guy's life, that's all. His wife made him come over here and do that.
You mean you let him say those things to keep his wife happy?
Well, what's wrong with doing a guy a favor?
Well, leave it to men to figure out a thing like that, of all the idiotic things.
Well, I don't see anything idiotic about it. I just helped them out, that's all. Besides, if men are idiotic, what are women?
Oh, go on. Go on. It's just about time to bring up women drivers to prove your point, isn't it?
No, it isn't. I happen to think that women drivers drive very well, considering they keep their eyes closed in traffic.
Well, it happens to be a well-known fact that men are sillier than women.
It does?
Yes. Ask any woman.
Harriet, maybe you're right at that. Maybe men are sillier than women.
Oh, so you finally admit it?
Yes, sir, they must be sillier than women, because look how silly women are, and men marry them.
Oh, why,
Ozzie
Now, look
Nelson.
there, I'm not the type to argue. I happen to know there's only one way for a husband to handle a situation like this, and that's this way. Goodbye.
Oh, Ozzie! Ozzie, come back!
Yes?
You forgot your hat.
Sterling silver is like a beautiful fur coat or a diamond ring. Almost every woman desires it. And the sterling many of the most discerning women choose is International Sterling. International Sterling is genuine and enduring. It lasts and lasts because it's solid silver through and through. It's beautiful. It has a proud and impressive background. The craftsmen who make International Sterling are men to whom the art of silversmithing has been a cherished legacy for more than a century. In tribute to their skill, some of their work has been on exhibit in leading art museums. Yet, famous and lovely as International Sterling Silver is, it is within your means, because you don't have to buy a complete set at once. You can get one or two place settings of International Sterling now and add others later. That's the convenient, economical way of buying sterling. A way that has placed International Sterling where it belongs, in more and more homes like yours. So don't just dream about sterling. Own it. See your silverware dealer this week about International Sterling Silver. Now it's time for our lovely singing stars, the four famous King sisters.
Gonna take a sentimental journey. Gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna take a sentimental journey to renew all memories. Got my bag, got my reservation. I spend each time I could afford. Like a child in wild anticipation. Long to hear that all aboard. 7, that's the time we leave at 7. Counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. I never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roll? Gonna take a sentimental journey. Sentimental journey back home. 7, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of railroad track that'll take me back. Never thought my heart would be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey. Sentimental journey back home. Sentimental journey. I'm going home.
Now, let's get back to Ozzie and Harriet, shall we? There's been a little quarrel at the Nelson household this evening. Oh, I can't believe it's anything serious, but yet, well, gosh, Ozzie did walk out and slam the door, and, well, we'll see. As our scene opens, Ozzie is mumbling his way down the street.
Sometimes you just gotta put your foot down.
Hello, Mr. Nelson.
Oh, hello, Emmy Lou.
I'm sorry I can't stop to speak to you today, Mr. Nelson. I've simply got to meet my girlfriend downtown. I've got to fly.
Well, run right along, Emmy Lou. I got nothing on my mind right now except a lot of domestic trouble anyway.
Goodbye, Mr. Nelson. Did you say domestic trouble?
Oh, well, it's nothing serious, Emmy. Nothing to get excited about. All that happened was Mrs. Nelson and I had a little difference of opinion.
Oh, is that all?
Yes, although that really does create sort of a problem.
You call that a problem, Mr. Nelson? Just put yourself in my shoes. how would you like to meet a boy that you fell in love with at first sight, and he fell in love with you, too? And he kept saying he loved you, but he couldn't get married because he was supporting his little sister. And then you found out he didn't even have a little sister, that it was all lies, lies, lies.
Is that what happened to you?
Well, no, but I've got a blind date for tomorrow, and you never can tell.
Well, I'm afraid you didn't quite understand my problem. You see, I walked out of the house in the middle of an argument before, and I'm depending on psychology to force Mrs. Nelson to make the first move.
You mean you're going back in the house and make up?
Oh, no, that's where the psychology comes in. Now, the average husband would come crawling back with a box of candy and a lot of apologies. Not me. I use the hard-to-get method, the old psychology. Never fails. Well, see you later, Emmy Lou.
Bye, Mr. Nelson. I hope you won't be too lonesome tonight.
Are you kidding? I'm on my way now to call a few of my friends and have a poker game or something. There's plenty to do. Probably be a big night for me. Oh, Charlie? Yeah, this is Ozzie. That's right. Yeah, I haven't talked to you in months. What's new? Really? Today? Oh, well, congratulations. What is it, a boy? Ah, that's swell. And I don't suppose you'd be interested in the game tonight. Well, anyway, it's been nice speaking to you, Charlie. I haven't talked to you in months. So long. Oh, by the way, this new edition's number 4, isn't it? What? Number 9. Say, I haven't talked to you in years. Well, that takes care of Charlie. Let's see, Don couldn't make it, or Harold, or Ben. I think I'll give Al a ring. Hello, Al? Hey, this is Ozzie. Yeah. How about a little poker tonight, or a night baseball game or something? Promise your wife what? Well, just tell her you'll take her to the movies some other time. No, of course I'm not drunk. Nothing wrong with a guy going out without his wife once in a while, is there? Men ought to assert themselves a little more. Then their wives would appreciate them. Well, no, I'm not making this call from my house. Okay. What? Oh, don't worry about me. There are plenty of bright spots open. So long, Al. Golly, all these henpecked guys. I know what I'll do. I'll call George. Or Cal. They're always on the loose. Oh, golly, all these henpecked guys. Hey, this solitaire's not a bad game at that. Let's see how much I lost to myself. Gee, I'd really be in a hole if I hadn't cheated a little.
I'm sorry, sir. The library closes at 9:30.
Oh, thank you. Well, I guess I've let Harriet suffer enough. I might as well go home and accept her apologies.
Is that you, Ozzie?
Yes, Harriet.
Did you come back for something?
Oh, I think I'll stay downtown tonight.
Fine, that'll be a break for me. You've been snoring lately.
Why, I just came back to get my other suit and some shirts and ties. I'll go upstairs and get them now.
Oh, don't bother. I packed a suitcase for you with your things in it. It's right there by the doorway.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
What's the matter? Don't you like the suitcase?
Oh, yes. It's fine.
Well, that's fine. I suppose you've been having a big time.
Oh, I just hit a few of the high spots. Dropped into the Macombo, and then over the Trocadero, and from there to Ciro's.
Did you dance?
Well, just a couple of turns around the floor at each place.
With anyone I know?
No, just a couple of cute little girls I happened to meet. They weren't particularly brilliant conversationalists, but they certainly were...
Good dancers?
Well, it was so crowded, we just stood in the middle of the floor and vibrated a little.
Oh. Well, that sounds like fun.
Yes, it was, I guess. Well, I'd better be going. I say I'd better be going. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
If you ever need me for anything, the faucet may start to leak again, you can reach me by putting an ad in the personals. Signed, Lonely. I'll come from wherever I am.
I put your toothbrush and the razor in the suitcase, too.
Oh, you needn't have bothered with my razor. I don't think I'll be shaving. Well, goodbye.
Goodbye. What's that you're hiding in back of you?
Why? What do you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's silly of me. I just thought for a minute it was a box of candy.
How can a woman be married to a man for 10 years almost and know so little about his character? Don't you realize that if I brought home a box of candy to you, it would be an admission of defeat? It would be like saying, I'm sorry, forgive me.
Well, what is that behind your back?
A box of candy. I'm sorry, darling. Forgive me.
Oh, no, it was all my fault. I was so stubborn.
Oh, but you were right all the time.
No, I was wrong. You were right.
Then why didn't you apologize? And packing that suitcase, you would have let me leave, wouldn't you?
But Ozzie...
I never want to see that suitcase again. I'm going to throw it out right now.
Here, I'll give you a hammer.
A hammer?
Yes, the suitcase is nailed to the floor.
I knew I should have held out just a little longer.
Ozzie and Harriet will be back in a moment.
Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith, how about me?
Oh, yes, you're the woman who had so many nice things to say about International Sterling Silver.
May I speak now?
It's all yours. Go right ahead.
Friends, ladies, gentlemen. Oh, gosh, Mr. Smith, I don't think I can.
Oh, don't be nervous. Just tell the folks what you told me about International Sterling Silver.
Well, friends, ladies, oh, gosh.
Oh, come on, don't be nervous. Just pretend you're in a department store, looking at a set of International Sterling in the 1810 pattern. You've got one of the spoons in your hand, and you turn it this way and that, admiring the unusualness of the squared-off shaft and the way the silver gleams in the light.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
You think how proud you'd feel if that International Sterling service were in your home instead of in the store. You picture the way it would look on your table against your best linens and your favorite china.
Oh, golly, wouldn't it be wonderful? Everybody I know would be green with envy.
Go on.
Go on?
Well, sure. Now that you've got over your nervousness, aren't you going to say something about International Sterling Silver?
No. I think I'll just say go and see International Sterling.
Well, that's very good advice, ladies and gentlemen. So tie a string around your finger, make a note on your calendar pad, do whatever you find most helpful to remind you to visit your silverware dealer this week and see International Sterling Silver. Believe me, you'll be glad you made the trip. And now let's look in on Ozzie and Harriet again.
Ozzie?
Yes, Harriet?
I forgot to tell you. Before you got back, the librarian called and said she found your King of Diamonds under the nonfiction table.
Oh, well, then you knew I wasn't at the Macumba or Ciro's dancing with those girls?
Yes, dear.
Well, then why did you look so mad?
Because you looked so happy while you were telling me about it.
Oh, fine. Harriet and I have been asked to remind you that even though the war is over, the government still needs tin to send food to our soldiers in Europe and the Pacific. It needs tin to pack medical supplies for our wounded soldiers. It needs tin to put civilian goods back on the market. The need is great and the supply limited.
And it'll take some time before we can get normal shipments from such places as the Dutch East Indies and Malaya. So for the time being, our most valuable tin mine is the American kitchen.
And let's make sure that the tin cans are prepared properly for salvage. The labels removed, the tin washed thoroughly, and prepared in accordance with local requirements. Thanks a lot, folks, and good night.
Night, folks.
Company, creators of International Sterling, invite you to listen again next Sunday to the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, with songs by the King Sisters and music by Ozzie Nelson's orchestra. And don't forget, the solid silver with beauty that lives forever is International Sterling. This program originates in the Hollywood studios of the Columbia Broadcasting System and is also broadcast over the Trans-Canada Network of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. This adventure of Ozzie and Harriet will be transmitted to our men and women overseas by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Appearing in support of Ozzie and Harriet were B. Benaderet, John Brown, Joel Davis, Louise Erickson, and Tommy Cook. Original music was composed by Billy May. Vern Smith speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
America's finest silver plate is 1847 Rogers Brothers.
Yes, America's finest silver plate is 1847 Rogers Brothers. From Hollywood, International Silver Company, creators of 1847 Rogers Brothers silver plate, presents The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring young America's favorite couple, Ozzie Nelson and Harriet Hilliard. As we look in at the Nelson household at 1847 Rogers Road, the entire family, Ozzie, Harriet, 8-year-old David, and 5-year-old Ricky, are at the dinner table. As our scene opens, Harriet is giving David one of those David, eat your spinach looks as she says,
David, eat your spinach.
But I don't like spinach, Mother.
Now, David, let's not have any more of this nonsense. If you don't eat your spinach, you don't get any dessert, that's all.
What are we having for dessert, Mom?
Stewed prunes, but eat your spinach anyway.
Look at little Ricky. He's eating his.
Well, you can't go by him, Pop. He eats rubber bands, too.
David, will you please give me a chance to relax a little? I've got a pretty important evening ahead of me.
Is it something you can talk about in front of us kids?
Oh, sure, David. Your father's just been initiated into a secret organization tonight.
Gosh, another one, Pop?
That was exactly my reaction, David. It isn't enough that your father is a member of 6 or 7 lodges already. Now he has to
Please, Harriet. After all.
What's the name of this one, Pop?
David, the name of an organization is comparatively unimportant.
Hey, come to think of it, you didn't tell me either. What is the name of it?
Harriet, you judge an organization by its members, by its background, and by its good fellowship.
Ozzie, what is the name of the organization?
The Amiable and Antique Order of Prehistoric Monsters.
Goodness, dear, this is getting to be a little frightening. You're already an elk, a moose, and an eagle. Now you're going to be a monster.
Okay. Now tell me I've got a good head for it, and we'll all laugh.
Well, it certainly seems silly to go through some bruising initiation just to be greeted as a fellow monster.
Harriet, I don't know all the rules of the lodge, but I don't think I'm allowed to let you say that. Anyway, the new members are not called monsters. They're called unicorns.
Unicorn?
That's right, and if I have sufficient fortitude to withstand the rigorous ordeal of the initiation, I will emerge a full-fledged unicorn. Junior grade, of course.
What's a unicorn, Dad?
Well, it's an animal, and it looks like a horse has a horn coming out of its forehead.
And you want to be one?
No. David, we just use that as a symbol. Now, the unicorn is a mythical animal that was said to live in herds of about 40 or 50. They lived in caves, and they're now extinct.
50 animals in one cave. No wonder they... David, eat your spinach.
You know, Harriet, I think you'd feel different about my joining this organization if you realized how much tradition there is behind it.
Oh, I don't really mind, dear.
For thousands of years, brother unicorns all over the world have been exchanging the hand clasp of good fellowship.
Do they have a secret handshake?
Oh, of course. I'll learn it tonight. Then when someone gives me the handshake, that's how I can tell he's a unicorn.
Isn't it easier to tell by the horn on his forehead?
We don't really wear horns on our foreheads, David.
Oh, that's good. I was wondering where you'd put your hat. Well, good luck, Pop.
He's a good little guy, all right.
The only thing that has me worried, dear, is aren't these initiations awfully physical? Don't they beat you with paddles and stuff?
Well, I suppose so, but whatever they have to offer, why, I'll just have to take it. If I'm to be accepted as a unicorn.
Well, you're the one who's doing it. I'll tell Gloria we finished dinner. Oh, Gloria! Gloria!
Did you call me, Mrs. Nelson?
Yes, Gloria, I did. We're all finished dinner.
Going to the movies tonight.
I'm afraid not, Gloria. Now that we have a unicorn in the house.
I do my best, Mrs. Nelson. They must come from the house next door.
I think I'd better come to the rescue here, Gloria. To put it plain as possible, I'm going to join a lodge.
Oh, I see. A lodge what?
Now, Gloria, I'm becoming a member of a lodge. You know, sort of a club.
Oh, that's nice. I'm interested in joining clubs. What advantages does this club offer?
Gloria, all the members of this club are men.
What other advantages?
You don't understand, Gloria. This club is interested in men only.
Well, so am I.
No, Gloria, they don't allow women to join.
Oh, well, it's just as well. I already belong to 3 clubs, the Book of the Month, Automobile, and Lonely Hearts.
That must keep you plenty busy.
Oh, yes. My favorite is the Lonely Hearts.
Oh, have you met any interesting people there?
Oh, there's some very nice people who belong. Like, for instance, Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart?
Of course, he belongs under another name, Willie Hinkle.
Oh.
I was corresponding with him, and I didn't know he was really Humphrey Bogart until he sent me his picture.
Oh, Gloria, that couldn't be Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, yes, it was. Because he wanted my picture, so I sent him one of Lauren Bacall, and he married her.
Oh. Well, Gloria, why didn't you send one of your own pictures to the Lonely Hearts Club?
Oh, I did. But they sent it right back. They said they weren't that lonely.
Gloria, I can tell by your conversation that the big interest in your life is romance.
Well, not exactly, Mr. Nelson. But just once, I would like to walk into a dance and have everybody say, "Who is it?" instead of, "What is it?" Well, I'll see you later.
Hey, you know, I'd better get moving or I'm going to miss this initiation completely.
Well, good luck, dear. And Ozzie, please be careful, won't you?
Okay, and get that worried look off your face. My insurance is all paid up. I wonder what they're really going to do to me this initiation. Well, I'll find out in a little while, I guess.
Oh, hello, Mr. Nelson. Going somewhere?
Oh, hello there. Yes, I am, Emmy Lou.
But, Mr. Nelson, where are you going without Mrs. Nelson? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to, Mr. Nelson, and I'll understand. I just finished reading a beautiful story about a man who used to sneak out on his wife, but little did he know that she had a private detective following him.
Emmy Lou, I have bad news for you. Mrs. Nelson knows exactly where I'm going.
Oh, does she really?
Yeah, I hate to let you down like this, but I'm going over to the lodge hall. I'm being initiated tonight into the amiable and antique order of prehistoric monsters.
Oh, how positively thrilling. Mm-hmm. And do you know something? I think you'll make an absolutely fascinating monster.
Oh, thanks, I guess.
Gosh. I hope they don't hurt you, Mr. Nelson.
Oh, I think I'll survive, Emmy Lou. I'm afraid Mrs. Nelson thinks it's going to be too tough for me, though. She doesn't seem to think I'm very rugged.
Oh, you must be mistaken. Every woman tries to believe that her husband is the bravest and strongest in the world. It's just that it's harder for Mrs. Nelson.
Well, I'll be seeing you, Emmy.
admit a lowly worm who desireth the great honor of admittance into the amiable and antique order of prehistoric monsters.
Gosh, it's very impressive.
Silence!
I command that the door be opened by Brother Triceratops.
Where is the lowly worm who desires to enter our sanctum?
Right here, Excellency.
Is it you who knocketh and desireth admittance? Is it you who knocketh and desireth admittance?
Well, yes, I guess so.
You understand, do you not, O worm, that you are begging to be admitted into an organization that was founded 194,201,945 years ago?
Yes, I understand it.
As well. The amiable and antique order of prehistoric monsters was started when the first two hunks of animal life crawled out of the Paleozoic ooze and shook hands as they shared the first bit of dry mud on Earth. From this friendly meeting was formed this, the greatest of all organizations of brotherly friendship. Are you ready for our membership test?
Yes, sir.
Remove his blindfold, Brother Diplodocus.
It is as you have commanded, almighty Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Hello, fellas.
Silence!
Okay, I'm ready to be tested. Get the paddle out and begin using it. All I ask is that you throw a little water on when my pants start smoking.
Oh, no, that is not the way we test. Anyone can stand physical pain, particularly weak-minded person.
Uh-oh.
But we have something more difficult in mind.
Whatever it is, I'm ready to go through with it.
Good. We believe that our test will prepare you to continue happily through life, for it requires great fortitude, self-discipline, and above all, the ability to be amiable and agreeable. So your test is that you must agree with everything that everyone says until 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, that's a cinch.
Silence!
Excuse me.
I think you will find it difficult. Many men have taken the test, but very, very few have ever passed it. I, the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex, of the amiable and antique order of prehistoric monsters, have spoken. Okay, fellas, bring on the beer and sandwiches.
America's finest silver plate is 1847 Rogers Brothers.
American industry is getting into full stride. Soon all you dreamed about, all the things that make home more comfortable, more lovely, will be at your disposal. The miraculous television set, the new refrigerator with all its scientific innovations, and yes, the lovely silver plate you've so fervently desired, so patiently waited for, 1847 Rogers Brothers silver plate. And when it is again available, and that will be soon, you'll see that all we've been saying about 1847 Rogers Brothers is unmistakably true. You'll see that 1847 Rogers Brothers is America's finest silver plate. That there is nothing in silver plate that can surpass its rich, heartwarming luster, its exquisite and imaginative patterns. You'll see that the high-raised, deeply etched ornamentation of 1847 silver plate does give it a look of rich, solid silver. It's all we've told you about, all our many friends have told you about. Silver plate to enrich your home. 1847 Rogers Brothers silver plate. Presenting those four lovely singing stars, the famous King Sisters.
I would gather stars out of the blue for you, just for you. And I'll make a string of pearls out of the dew for you, just for you. Over the highway and
what's going on at 1847 Rogers Road. Ozzie's initiation into the lodge last night was a little different than he anticipated. As our scene opens, he's talking on the telephone, checking his instructions with the chairman of the initiation committee.
What's that? Yes, sir. Okay, I'll repeat them back. As my final test of friendliness and congeniality, I am to be friendly to everyone and to agree absolutely with everything everybody says until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, thank you, sir. Goodbye. What a cinch. I can do this stand on my head. All I gotta do is agree with everything everybody says. Nothing to it.
Ozzie!
Coming, dear. Goodbye.
My goodness, what have you been doing? We're practically finished breakfast.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I've been talking on the phone. I can't tell you what it's about either. It's secret stuff regarding the lodge. And how is my beautiful wife this morning?
Well, Ozzie, you needn't be sarcastic just because I haven't done my hair yet.
But I wasn't... Well, yes, Harriet, dear. It's a lovely morning, isn't it?
Too cool for me.
Yes, come to think of it, it's cool, very cool, terribly cool.
What isn't terribly cool?
No, of course not. Not terribly cool, just medium cool.
Care for some oatmeal?
No, I don't. Yes. I'd love some.
You'd love some? But, Ozzie, you said the other day you don't like oatmeal.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, I don't like oatmeal.
But if you really want some, here's a nice heaping bowl full. Morning, Mother. Morning, Dad.
Oh, good morning, David.
Hot out today, isn't it, Dad?
Yes, it is, David.
Ozzie, I thought you said it was cold.
It seems to be getting hot and cold and flashy. Did you have your breakfast, David?
Long ago. I just came in to ask you if I could buy a football.
Why, yes, David.
Gee, thanks.
Oh, Ozzie, don't you think David is too young to play football?
He certainly is.
Oh, Dad, can't I play football?
Why, sure.
But, Ozzie, isn't it too dangerous for him to play football?
It sure is.
But I can buy the football.
Yes, David.
Ozzie, are you crazy?
Yes, dear.
I don't know if he's crazy or not, Mother, but I like him better this way.
Oh, what a kid. Well, there at last I finished the oatmeal.
Care for another helping?
Yes, dear.
Tell me, dear, did the initiation go well last night?
Oh, yes, fine, thanks.
Well, that's nice. Ozzie, I want to ask a little favor of you.
Uh-oh.
You remember that nice fur jacket that I looked at 2 months ago?
Oh, yes, I remember it very well.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
Well, it was lovely, but do you remember the price tag, dear?
Uh-huh. Wasn't much at all, was it?
No, not at all.
Well, darling, would it be all right if I went down and bought it today?
Yes, dear.
More oatmeal?
Yes, dear.
Oh, and another thing. Dear, as long as you're going to be home today, don't you think it'd be nice if you'd rake the leaves up and mow the lawn and trim the hedge and clean up that mess in the basement?
But, Harriet...
Don't you agree with me, dear?
Yes, I agree with you, dear.
Oh, and
let's play a game.
What kind of a game?
Let's play a game where nobody talks.
But I wanted to
The first one who talks is a rotten egg.
Ozzie, what's the matter with you? Aren't you feeling well? What you need is to get your strength back. Here, you better have some more oatmeal.
Thanks, loads. Harriet, do you have any cotton batting in the house?
Well, yes, dear. Why?
I want to stuff it in my ears.
Ozzie, what's wrong with your ears?
Nothing. I just don't want to lose any oatmeal.
Well, I'll see you later, dear. I want to get this shopping done, and I know you have plenty to do.
Oh, yes. did you get back from town?
Oh, about 10 minutes ago.
Well, I finished the mowing.
Oh, but dear, look at all those ridges you left in the lawn.
Okay, dear, I'll do it over again. Mow the lawn, burn the leaves, clip the hedge, yes, until 5 o'clock. I'm lucky if I live until 5 o'clock.
Hey, Ozzie!
Oh, no, not that laughing hyena. How can I possibly be agreeable with him?
Hey, Ozzie!
Oh, hello, Harry.
And you were the guy who said he knew how to get out of working around the yard. Hey, I bet the little woman finally grabbed you and made you work. Oh, this is killing me.
I count on that, Harry.
Oh, brother, you should see yourself. You're the funniest thing I've ever seen. Hey, look out with those hedge clippers. Get away from me.
I won't hurt you, Harry. I like you.
Look out, you ripped the button off my coat. Look out. Help!
Darling,
Yeah?
you finish mowing the lawn and clipping the hedge and raking the leaves and cleaning the basement?
Yes, dear.
Will you answer the door?
Yes, dear.
Ah, señor, yo no puedo vivir más porque tú eres un muchacho muy caballero, my little hot tamale.
Gosh, I'm awfully sorry. I don't believe I've had the pleasure of meeting you.
Oh, why, Mr. Jackson, how can you say such a thing, you naughty boy? Don't you remember me, Rosita Hacienda?
Well, I...
Now you remember me, don't you? Didn't we have a wonderful time last night, Mr. Jackson?
Mr. Jackson, my name is...
You know something? You look very different in the daytime. Oh, but of course you have shaved off your mustache.
Yes.
You are Mr. Jackson?
Yes, Andrew Jackson, George. Yes.
Wasn't it a wonderful evening? We did the rumba. We did the samba. We did the conga. We did the bomba. A jinga, jinga, bomba. Jinga, jinga, bomba.
The boat is running.
For goodness sakes, what's going on here? Sounds like the whole porch is caving in. Who's this?
Well, this is Senorita Hacienda. Senorita, this is my wife,
Harriet.
Harriet.
This is your wife?
Did you say Senorita Hacienda? Oh, how can her name be Hacienda? Hacienda's a house.
Well, that's what she's built like.
Oh, your husband is such a gay fellow. We had a wonderful time last night. Didn't we, my little hot tamale?
Well, Ozzie, did you?
Yes. But, Harriet, I'm sure you must understand there is a very reasonable explanation for this, don't you? I'm sure you understand that, don't you, dear? I don't like the tone of what you're not saying.
I hope I have not made a mistake. I had a nice time last night with somebody. We did the rumba.
Oh, no.
We did the samba.
No.
We did the conga.
Yes, I know.
We did the bomba.
But not it.
A jinga, jinga, bomba.
Well, there's a 5 o'clock whistle.
The 5 o'clock whistle. I made it.
Ozzie, how would you like to help me pick some flowers?
No.
Ozzie.
I don't want to do anything, Harriet. You've worked me like mad today.
Ozzie, you're supposed to agree with everyone or you won't get in the lodge.
that was only until 5 o'clock. Hey, wait a minute. How did you know I was supposed to agree with everybody to get into the lodge?
Well, there, you see...
So that's it. You knew I'd have to agree with you, and you took advantage of me. You worked me like a dog. I was trying to be agreeable, and you were just needling me along. Oh, Harry.
Sometimes I'm just a fiend.
Well, how did you know about it? Did the Lodge brothers tell you?
No, dear, you did.
I did?
Mm-hmm. I suppose I should have told you this a long time ago, but... Well, I'll let you in on a little secret, dear. You talk in your sleep.
How long have I been doing this?
Ever since we were first married.
Gosh, I suppose I make up a lot of silly stuff.
On the contrary, you're very interesting.
Well, I imagine this must get awfully annoying to you, me talking in my sleep.
No, dear, I don't mind it when you talk in your sleep. But it does annoy me a little when you just lie there and chuckle.
Just think, all this happened as a result of my being initiated into a secret lodge.
Yep.
Well, there's one nice thing, though, dear. You can always say that for one whole day you were married to a husband who was sweet, kind, completely agreeable, and generous. It must have been wonderful.
Ozzie.
Mm-hmm.
I have a TL for you.
What is it, dear?
I like you much better as your old, obnoxious self.
Thank you, dear. Ozzie and Harriet will be back in a moment. Now, back to Ozzie and Harriet.
Ozzie. Ozzie, dear. Oh, poor Ozzie. He certainly fell asleep in a hurry tonight. No wonder after the day he put in. He sure was a good sport about it all. I must tell him tomorrow I was only kidding about buying all those things. Oh, look at him sleeping so peacefully with that nice smile on his face.
Oh, my gosh.
I wonder what he's dreaming about.
Jinga, jinga, boom, bye.
Thank you for listening to and showing your support for my podcast. If you would like to receive notifications of when new episodes are posted, please subscribe to my channel. Well, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, wish you well, and as always, peace.